As soon as he heard the news that President Jimmy Carter had died at 100 years old, Eric J. Chambers says he knew he needed to sign this condolence book set up at the Nixon Library.
He was a Navy guy. I was a Navy guy. And so I had to make sure that I came over and give him one more good salute.
At 62, Eric says he wasn't old enough to vote for Carter when he ran in 1976. But his campaign, his life, and his humble origins helped Eric believe in his own abilities. Eric says one song written about Carter in the 70s has stuck with him all these years later.
The song said, "If the peanut farmer can do it, so can I."
If a peanut farmer can do it, so can I.
Eric says that song, written by Ed Townsend, got to the heart of what he loved about the former president.
If a peanut farmer from Plains, Georgia, can become president of the United States, all things are possible.
And Carter arrived at the White House under extraordinary circumstances, running against Gerald Ford, who succeeded President Richard Nixon after his resignation. Despite Nixon and Carter's differences, Joe Lopez, director of communications at the Richard Nixon Foundation, says there was a mutual respect between them, and at times they even worked together.
The first time that President Nixon went back to the White House was during the Carter administration. President Carter was meeting with some of the leaders from China, and they wanted President Nixon to be there.
In 1994, Carter, along with Presidents Reagan, Ford, Bush, and Clinton, attended President Nixon's funeral, held here at the library. That's why Joe says honoring President Carter in this way is so important. Laura Pavolis was visiting from Omaha, Nebraska.
I'm so proud of him for the man he was, and especially for the work that he's done every minute since he left the White House.
And it's that work post-presidency that Voice of America correspondent Kane Faribault says Mr. Carter is widely recognized for. Kane interviewed President Carter more than 20 times.
An unprecedented post-presidential legacy, but one that will be hard for any president after to emulate.
It's that bipartisanship and ability to connect, regardless of party, that Eric says he admired so much.
What politics can use on both sides of the aisle, the middle, the center, the left, wherever, is someone with the integrity of a President Jimmy Carter.
From peanuts to the presidency, a man who these Americans say they're proud of.
The presidency cemented Jimmy Carter into American consciousness, but as historians point out, he's likely the first president to use his time in the White House as an opening act of sorts for an arguably even greater next act.